go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Gary, can you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilor Ellifort?
Here.
Councilor Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Here.
Mayor Becker will be out, and we do have a vacant seat, but a quorum is declared.
Modifications to agenda.
I move to remove number 5, which is the oath of office, to April 19th. We need to add the resignation reading from Joe Slaybach to E3. And let's see, moving everything else down to F1. We've had some changes in the agenda, so we're moving some things around. I see some questions out there.
I'll second that.
We also would like to move the Outstanding Service Award of Michael Martinez
Okay.
to the April 19th.
Please. Thank you.
And that one I
Yeah.
don't know about.
Second that motion as amended.
Any discussion on that? Or questions?
Changes. Question? Okay.
Councilor Johnson?
Aye.
Councilor Ellifort?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Approval of consent agenda. Minutes of regular meeting March 15th, 2018. Review and approval of accounts payable.
Is that all together? I move to approve the consent agenda.
Point of order there, with the amendments that were made to the agenda, that would also include item E3, approval of resignation letter from Joe Schleybaum.
That
Would be in the consent agenda, Councilor. Sorry.
so approve that with that amendment.
Yes, sir.
So I amend my motion to approve the consent agenda with the amendment of the change to on line E3.
Okay, I second that.
It's up to you.
I'm in. Ready?
Any discussion on that? Questions?
Councilor Ellifort?
Aye.
Councilor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Aye.
Motion carries.
We're going to read this resignation. All right, we're going to read a resignation letter from former Councilman Joe Slaybach.
Okay, this council and the mayor want to reiterate to everyone that we in no way supported Councilman Slaybach in his personal attack, nor do we condone his behavior of that evening. As you're aware, Mr. Slaybach has resigned his seat on council, and there have been several versions of his letter of resignation of his seat on council. And I would like to read to you the letter that was sent to the council. It is dated March 25th to the mayor and the city council. Honorable Mayor and members of council, this letter is to inform you that I regretfully resign my position of city council effective immediately. I started a sequence of events that led to this point, and for that, I hold myself responsible. As long as there is disruption in the council chambers, the city will not be able to effectively conduct business. I am hoping with my absence, the council chambers will quiet down and business can be conducted more effectively. I sincerely apologize to the entire council for the position I have put you in and wish all of you the best in moving forward. May you bring peace and prosperity to Monte Vista once again. Respectfully, Joe Slaybach. We felt it was important that everyone hear this letter.
Thank you, Kathy. Proclamations, communications, and appointments. Statement from council.
What's that?
Well, we have a student representative.
All right, I got the student representative, Zoe Doyle.
Okay. I would like to introduce Zoe Doyle. Probably at the very first council meeting I attended, Margaret Hurd suggested to the council that we have a representative from the high school or the Delta Center within the community that could take what we do here back to the school system and back to the kids at the high school and hopefully involve them in our decisions. And I personally kind of dropped the ball, and I'll take responsibility for that. And Zoe actually reached out to me and said, when am I going to get to go to council? And so I'd like everybody to turn around and look at Zoe and welcome her. Miss Doyle is very interested in civic government, and she's going to graduate here in May, and hopefully she'll continue to come to our meetings through the end of summer and then pass that gauntlet to someone else. We on this council are very open to including everyone in what we do, and we feel like the high school kids are the future of Monte Vista, and I see a whole group of you over here, and I'm so glad to see you. We feel like you guys are our future, and we need to include you in the decisions and the things that we do here in Monte Vista. This council hasn't quite yet decided what Zoe's position will be. Hopefully she will be up here with us and be privy to all of the knowledge and the things that we do and can be a part of our decision-making process. So, welcome.
Elkmore Board of Trustees Award.
Not exactly sure of the protocol here, but I get everybody to come on up. Help me a little bit with introductions. We'll have to smile for the camera, obviously. But I'll kind of start everything. So I'll just have everybody introduce yourself.
Carla Schreiber, Kathy Rogers Woods, Lori Dooley, Krista Newmeyer Olson.
So, councilman, prominent citizen, whole lot of help, DA. They heard that we were in trouble with our K-9 program, and the valley itself wasn't doing too well on this end. And the DA sees what's going on in Alamosa. And K-9 is, as you know, multi-purpose. There's drug detection, and then there's bite dogs or apprehension, however you want to call it. And then there's actually tracking. Tracking is not typically part of most street canines, but possible. It takes a lot of work to get all three done in any one dog. But with the problem in Monte Vista and the valley in general, we thought we would concentrate on just one, the drugs. And this is it's a little bit hard to see, real quick. This is Jake. He is a black lab. He is a smaller lab. He's a year and 2 months, so he's right at 14 going on 15 months. And this is Corporal Hart. He is not here because they're in training. Today's their 4th day of training. Jake already passed his first practice certification in vehicles and buildings on his 4th day of training, which is not exactly all the training he's ever had. He's been a bird dog, my personal bird dog, for a long time. He was very expensive, very, very well-bred bird dog. I am out of time with bird hunting, unfortunately, and this is my way of being able to have him do something very good for me, make his daddy proud, and for the community. And with the help of these ladies and a fund that you might want to speak more about, because I'm not quite as versed in that.
In the valley, there is a local regional council from El Pomar. El Pomar is a foundation in Colorado Springs. And then in each region, they appoint locals to be their local liaison and hear what's going on in the community. And that's us three, as well as Tom Gilmore, Keith Cherney, and Larry Goga. I can't ever pronounce Larry's name. But that's the San Luis Valley Regional El Pomar Council. And as Chief Roskins indicated, we had heard in conversation with DA Krista that there was a need. And so we got together and put together a program to help the community, because there is a serious problem. And it was a way that our council could help the local communities.
Yeah. And El Pomar is, we have big projects, and then we get to designate money like this, smaller projects that we feel are important. And so the rest of the council couldn't be here tonight, but they want to express their great desire to help. We recognize drugs as a big issue, and it trickles down to a whole lot of other crimes. So we wanted to help in our small way. And this grant goes along with the grant also given by the Ralph Alcohol Foundation. So.
And that's for a maintenance grant. It'll pay for training of the handler and the dog for another 5 years. Because I guess according to conversation with these folks, that's part of the problem. Once you get the dog and the officer up to speed, then an expensive part is then the continuing training for the handler and the dog. So we've put together a program amongst all of us, and we hope this will be a great benefit for the community. Chief Roskins has indicated that you know, it will be a multi-jurisdictional dog if needed. And how will it help you, Dia?
So I have the good fortune of working with K9 Samantha and K9 Dax, who are the K9 officers in Alamosa. I previously have had the good fortune to work with K9 Lena here, who recently retired. That's how I became aware of the need in Monte Vista. I knew that she was getting older and getting ready to retire. And dogs generally don't really have the same credibility issues as, for example, a confidential informant or human witnesses. With a properly trained and maintained narcotics detection dog, it makes the cases, from my perspective, very strong and very easy to prosecute. So I fully support narcotics detection dogs, and I think it's going to be a great thing for the community.
Yes, I feel honored that they trusted us in getting this done in a very short time I've been here, and that's why he's already there, and his car is parked outside, and I mean, we're ready. He's going to hit, most likely by the end of the month, you might have your first case with Jake and he, so that's awesome.
Great.
Really good.
And grants have kind of a bad word associated with them a lot of times because they're hard, there's a lot of maintenance. I did nothing but run my mouth, and that's about one of my strengths. And he said he did all the work, and I got a lot of support from Colorado State Patrol, Sheriff's Office. Everybody wants this to happen because I think the synergy that we build with 4 dogs is much different than 1 or 2, and I think the credibility that the team builds not only amongst each other. Tate, one of the handlers, is actually helping up in the training right now for our dogs, and they'll do some vice versa training. So I think it'll be a big difference, not only in the detection, but how the departments get along and how the entire judicial district's able to function and prosecute those cases.
And there was another person involved, Christine Borchers from Lake City. She also helped with a lot of the paperwork on our end, and actually she's a local Monte Vista girl. She's Jim and Ellen Lancaster's daughter, and has a real tie to the, Monte Vista. But it's just great how this all came together, and how we was able to get it done.
Go check.
For you.
Look at that, that's 3 zeros.
Oh, yeah. Don't leave that sitting around. Yeah.
All right, letter of interest for URA from Christy Miller.
But she's not here.
She's not here.
But we do have the letter of interest.
Right.
Well, I move to accept the letter of interest from Christy Miller for the URA.
And I second that.
Any discussion?
We can use all the help we can get.
Counselor Elliford,
Aye.
Counselor Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Aye.
motion carries.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Service awards.
I think we're going to skip this one till the 19th.
Yeah, I think they've been moved down to April 19th.
All of them?
Not all, no.
Oh, no?
There's more, sorry.
No, this is the oath of office,
And this one.
and that one.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I was not saying that service work, so.
Somebody last year, long time.
Good to have you back, Rob.
Thank you. So, all right. So I have the pleasure of presenting 3. Unfortunately, one of the people are not here tonight. But the first one is actually years of service to Bob Abeda, who's our utility supervisor. He's been with the city 20 years of dedicated service. So you guys that have come to council meetings have heard me praise what he actually does for the city as far as keeping our utility system up and running. So Bob, if you'll come up here. It's a nice plaque. A little present for you on the inside. But this is in recognition of hard work and dedication for 20 years of service. And you get a smile for the camera and a certificate. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next person that we would like to recognize is Arnold De Herrera. We affectionately call him Buff. This is the man who works in the streets. If you see the guy that sweeps, this is usually the guy that does that. He's out and about doing everything from cleaning up our waste and our leaves in the spring and falls, and doing water when it snows and melts real quick. So again, Buff has been with the city 20 years, so we would like to present you that. And this.
Smile.
Smile.
One more. Can I say something? Okay. I just want to say something really quick.
Sure.
This afternoon I was out messing in my yard, and watching Buff come up and down the streets and going back and forth. And he actually went out of the way and above and beyond to come and pick up stuff that I was getting out of my yard. And I really appreciate that. For a long time, before I was even on city council, I've always given kudos to your department and the maintenance and the public works. These guys are out here in the wind and the rain and the snow and the ugliest weather, and they're fixing stuff that I wouldn't want to mess with. And I just want to tell them thank you. I appreciate them.
Amen.
I absolutely do.
Here, here.
The guys appreciate hearing that.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes we don't say thank you enough, so thank you.
So the one that was not able to be here is a new hire, Brian Howard, who works at our wastewater plant. 1 year service. He's doing an excellent job. Really, he's still learning, but he's doing really well for us, and we have good hopes that he will continue to serve the community well. He's a licensed operator, right?
Yeah.
He's asked, so yeah, so he's moving up, doing good. So thank you.
Okay. The oath of office. Okay.
So we have two more this evening. One to Keith Hart, who is training with the dog. So he's been with us a year now, and obviously is doing very well. He's been promoted, and now he gets to play with a dog with a very nice purpose to it. So congratulate him for a year of service. And the other person we have this evening is our city clerk, Nita Vance, who has been with us a year as well. Congratulations, Nita.
Thank you.
All right, citizen comments, special presentations. So scheduled appearances. In order to be included on this portion of the agenda, please file the appropriate form with the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting.
I have a special presentation. I'm actually filling in for Shane with Burrs and Sons Bucking Bulls. So he unfortunately had a traveling obligation that prevented him from being here tonight. This is for Spring in the Valley Rodeo Series, and they also do a class. So that's what this is for. Really, they rent Sky High and the fairgrounds for these events. We as Public Works for the last 3 years now have been providing them a water truck and our tractor to help them grade and level the actual fairgrounds where the practice and the rodeo takes place. It's worked out well for us. It's a good service to the community, so no issues on our part. We've actually got it so Shane actually operates. So from our side, it's just letting them use our equipment. It's no overtime for our crew or anything like that. So it's a good arrangement, it works. So would like council to approve them using that. And of course I can answer some questions. But
How long has that been going on?
I think this is the 4th year that he's been doing it. I believe it's the 4th or 5th. It's the 3rd year that we as Public Works have used our equipment to help them out.
When is that coming up?
There's
First one, April 16th, I think. Yeah.
Several Sundays,
It's
right?
Yes,
several Sundays
yes.
between now and May.
Through May, and that's the Bucking Bowl Fraternity is the last one, and that's in May. And unfortunately, I did not bring my calendar.
Actually, it goes into July 7th. the last.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah,
Maybe expand it. That's good, though. I think it's a good thing.
I do too.
Yeah, and I move to approve that we allow Burris and Sons Bucking Bulls to use the city equipment and continue with their adventure. It's kind of an adventure.
You have to approve the use of Sky High too.
And the use of Sky High as well.
Thank you.
I second that.
Any discussion, questions?
Just that I have, as long as I've been around, when I first heard about this, I thought it was a great idea, and it had been going on for a while. And it's phenomenal. It's basically training, if I understand that.
It is. Yes,
And,
they offer,
to
of
get
course.
young people involved, and that everything about it was very positive. So
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
And then the Spring in the Valley, the actual rodeo series deals with young folks, high school age and junior high age, kids actually participating in bull riding.
So you won't be riding?
No.
Okay.
No, I learned that a long time ago, so things will hurt you.
Just checking. No, you got your own horse.
I got my own problems.
Yeah.
And my horse has a few more.
Any other questions or discussion?
Okay, thank you very much.
Counselor Johnson?
Aye.
Counselor Oliver?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And citizen comments. City Council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit to comments to 3 minutes. Council will also not take any action during the meeting. No comments? Okay. Public hearings. I don't think we have any public hearings today. License and liquor renewals.
Good evening, Council. Tonight before you is the renewal liquor license for Quincy's Restaurant, doing business at 138 Adams Street in Monte Vista. They have met all requirements of paperwork, and there have not been any issues with the police department for Quincy's. And I ask tonight that you approve the liquor license renewal for Quincy's.
I move that we approve the liquor license for Quincy's at 138 Adams Street in Monte Vista.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? Okay, if there's any.
Councilor Johnson?
Aye.
Councilor Elfart?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Contracts, agreements, and leases. Ordinances, I'm sorry, skipped one. Ordinance 885, emergency ordinance amending the Monte Vista Municipal Code, Article 11, Section 2-11-20, and Section 2-11-30.
I move to approve the ordinance 885, emergency ordinance amending the Monte Vista Municipal Code, Article 11, Section 2-11-20, and Section 2-11-30.
I second that motion.
Is there any discussion or questions? Doesn't seem like there's any.
Councilor Elfart?
Aye.
Councilor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Contracts, agreements, and leases.
You could address from there.
Can I?
Yes.
That would be perfect.
Right?
Basically, all I wanted to do is just provide council update as far as the bid for the Valley 3 Theater hot water. The Valley 3 doesn't have any hot water going to the restrooms, and they had requested that the city go out and try to help them do a bid package so they could try to get that. So we went out and we did an RFP, sent it out to the paper, got a couple of people that were interested, got one bid back. I think the bid price was a little higher than what they were anticipating. So at this time, they just kind of want to wait and reevaluate at a later time. The hard part with that particular building is it was never plumbed for hot water. So you would have to run new piping from the one water heater, which, believe it or not, is actually in the 30s or 40s was when it was actually manufactured. And it's been in the building ever since. So you'd have to go from there, and you would then have to run in two different directions, one to get to the ladies' restroom and the other one to the men's. The men's is nowhere near as complicated as the women's restroom. The other option is doing what they call a tankless water heater. The problem with that is you have to run electricity, and then when you start getting into electrical in an old building, there's a very good chance that you have to bring the entire electrical up to current code, which was a cost that the current, because we did bid it both ways. And the contractor that did the project decided that he didn't want to go there because he felt that would be far more expensive than just running new piping.
That was the contractor that made that decision?
Yes. Yeah, the way we did the bid, we had bid options. So one option was to bid it as a just running new pipe, and the other one was to do a tankless water heater, what they call on-demand heat with actual electrical. So the contractor did that. So that was his choice. And I think that's maybe something that the theater board might want to look at, is seeing if they can get a cost for those tankless water heaters. And like I said, the problem with that is trying to get electrical.
Just a question. Do you happen to know what the cost of a new water heater would be for that?
Depending on what they want, I would say with installation, because I don't know how familiar you are with the theater, where they sell the concessions. There's a little room where they store the candy and the pop and stuff. There by the sink is a square cabinet. That's actually the water heater. So you would have to remove that and then put a regular water heater in there. Being a commercial building, you're going to have a floor drain and stuff like that. So it's somewhat complicated. I would say probably pretty close to $1,000 if I was throwing a figure at it, to make sure that it's plumbed and done correctly.
Seems to me they had hot water at that sink.
They do. See, they
do now, but
they have hot water at that sink.
Okay.
And then if you go into the men's restroom where there's a utility chase, there's actually hot water in the chase, but not actually at the sink where the customers need to wash their hands, and it's not plumbed.
Right.
So you would have to either tear out the wall, which is not, or you try to snake it through the wall with the insulation and not disturb any of the drywall or any of that, then snake it down under the sink and then come out. So it makes it more complicated. The other option, which is what the contractor bid, was to run it along the walls and then put a little casement. So it's enclosed in a wood encasement, and that way it saves quite a little bit of cost. The other one, just simply because of the duration and how far you have to go, they have to go up through the ceiling and then snake it through the joists and then come down into the actual room and then do that. So
sounds like we need to get some optional bids on that.
Yeah.
Some alternate bids on that.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I said, it could be cheaper, but the bid they got, they felt was, and it is high, but like I said, there are some circumstances.
$6,400?
$6,400, yeah. If there's plumbers out there that would like to talk to the theater board, I'm sure they'd like to hear from them. So,
all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. All right, receive and approve and financial reports.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, council members, I would like to also do Anika's report tonight. She's on a donut run. To Denver for a fundraiser. So they need some help to go get the stuff, and it seems to be a tradition for her. So she apologized for not being here, but I did want to read part of her report for the public. I don't have anything to add to my report this evening. If you have any questions, obviously you can see the connection between the emergency ordinance and our first Board of Adjustments matter that's happened in the last 4 years. So that will be on April 26th, and that has to do with conversion of a property residential at 1605 4th. And in that particular block, it's a little triangular block, and there's residential there, but it is zoned for commercial highway. It's cut off from the highway. It's actually, if you think about where that is, it's behind where the furniture store is, across the tracks, down the woods to your grandmother's house, and there's this property. So the applicant's asked to have is appealing the city's regulation, which says that you cannot have a primary use for a single-family residential there. But that's the use there. I discussed it with the city attorney, and from the city standpoint, I don't think there's really any objection to that. But it's required also on 37 Adams. That's could be a physical therapy clinic, and that's a medical type facility, so that requires special review use. So the Planning Commission will do double duty that night, but neither particularly controversial. We have sent out the public notices as required. So that's really from my report. The part I wanted to do from Anika's report, I think this is really exciting, and we had a management team meeting this morning, and we gave her a round of applause for this. She has received a $35,000 grant through the National Recreation and Park Association in partnership with the Walmart Foundation. Basically what that's going to do is they have a program that supports efforts around increasing access to meals, providing nutrition education, and implementing healthy living practices and policies. And as you know, Kids Connection already provides meals, so that'll help augment that. And then they have some good nutrition education programs that come with the grant. And basically, Anika will be going to a training in Kansas that's paid for by the grant. And then, but it's a really great thing. It augments what we're already doing, and that's pretty awesome. She's kind of been on a roll with grants lately, but that's a large amount of money that'll really help her programs. And it'll actually start for the summer program and go through the fall. So that's just pretty exciting. We're really happy about that. She also has a grant into the 21st Century Community Learning Center on a 3-year grant. So hopefully she'll get that as well. But she's really, we kind of arranged things more last year so she could start working on grants more. And she's really stepped up to the plate there. So I just wanted to bring that up for her report. And also at the end of this month, we'll open applications for the summer program for people to assist at Kids Connection. We have 3 part-time jobs in the summer there. So if people are looking for that kind of employment, it's actually a lot of fun. In the summer they do field trips, and she's also working on, as she talked about, they got a grant to do some things with some interesting science things. So they actually have like 30 chrysalises, future butterflies that they took from caterpillars to chrysalises, and when those all hatch, they're going to release them at the community garden. So that's kind of a neat thing. They also have, I don't know what you call them, beehives or beearies or whatever that they're working on, and that's pretty neat too. And then I didn't have in my report, but that ties in the community garden. We do have the deed for that property. So we'll be all squared away on that property, and I'll be getting with Rob on some water provision there, but that's pretty exciting. So they all have a tie to that, and the Kids Connection, her kids always plant some seeds and tend garden through the summer as well as part of their education program. So that's pretty exciting stuff. And that's all I have, unless you all have questions.
That's great news. I think that's wonderful. That's a lot of money.
Yes, that is a lot of money.
It's a big chunk for such a small, I know that they do a good job, but they're very small compared to some of those kinds of facilities. I think that's great.
It's basically 18% of their annual budget right there.
Right.
And that's awesome.
Right.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what does staff here?
Recreation?
He's not here.
Okay.
I probably knew about that, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
If you have any questions from his report, let me know or Hani know, and we can circle back on that.
Thank you, Forrest.
You bet.
All right, council committee, city commission and council reports. So discussion and decision of opening meetings with a prayer.
I think if you guys will remember at the last council meeting we had, someone from the audience suggest that we do that. And I think it's a good idea. I think we should put it out to all of the folks in the community. I don't think it should necessarily be a particular church, but I think it's a great idea. What do you guys think?
It is. It's actually more than a good idea. It's a standard throughout the country.
Yes.
And throughout the centuries, for that matter, and is a practice all the way from the U.S. Senate, House of Representatives to the Colorado State representatives, as well as our county commissioners. The only holdout in not seeing that happen, so that we are not on our own deciding some of the things that we have to decide here. There is a need, just like in our Pledge of Allegiance, one nation that is under God. Actually, I probably shouldn't admit this, but I was in 4th grade when they added under God to the pledge, and we had to learn it all over again. And now we're in a place, it was the next decade when they started taking that kind of thing out of the schools. I think it's time to bring back what belongs in the place of the city, and in a place where it is the primary consideration in the decision-making process here. And the way that happens is through prayer. It's a very simple process, and I'm ardently in favor of it.
Me personally, not sure if everybody knows me or not, but I used to run the streets here in Monte Vista, used to vandalize Monte Vista, used to do a lot of bad here in town, and taught my friends how to do it and encouraged them very much so to do the same thing. My life changed back in '97, and I've openly and I've been very open about my faith, and I do stand on my faith in everything that I do personally. No, I'm not perfect, but I can tell you one thing as far as personal experience goes, is that if you put God first and acknowledge Him first in all your ways, He will make your path straight. I am right now sitting in a place where I never, ever, 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 ever thought in my life I would be. And it's incredible to me that I'm here today, and I credit my faith in the Lord and putting Him first. And I believe that from where I came from to where I'm at today is a night and day difference, you know. And so I am definitely in support of the prayer to open the meeting, to acknowledge God first in our ways here as a city too.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may address that, one of the things that was brought up when that request was come, and I think is very good, is that our pledge is under God, our money says, "In God we trust." A lot of the churches, and my church also, believe in the Trinity. But if you would take God or Father and put in the prayer, that covers practically any religion, because they have a God. And so you have God in there, or Father. You're not going to offend anybody but the atheist, but God's been offending atheists for centuries. So the only thing, I think it's a good deal, because if I may, the fire board of the Monte Vista Fire Department opens the meeting with prayer. Then they go into their meetings. And I'm the one that does it down there, but it's just that if our money's going to say God and we trust, our prayer should be God. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
If my memory serves me right, the person that put the petition in front of you about having opening prayer, I believe he took it to the Ministerial Alliance, which is newly formed, and that it would be a rotation of pastors.
And I think that's important. I think it should be non-denominational and include everyone.
Sure.
That's my thought.
It's been brought to the Ministerial Alliance.
Good.
Well, I would like to move that the City of Monte Vista adopt the prospect of opening each council meeting with prayer, the details of how we rotate that in the churches to be determined. But move that we establish and approve that.
I second that.
Is there any discussion or questions about that? Okay.
Councilor Ellenport?
Aye.
Councilor Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So we'll get some comments.
I don't think we need an executive session. All right.
We have some comments.
Grab some comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilor Johnson.
Some comments?
Thank you. I've been trying to squeeze this in ever since. Some of this goes back to the Ag Conference. I'll be brief with it, but our meetings have been known to go a little longer than planned. But I did attend the hemp discussion that was sponsored by the Ag Conference, and it was very informative. I learned a lot about the fact that hemp, a lot of folks are working very hard to bring that in, because it's a good cash crop, it's a good product. It's remotely, maybe not so remotely related to, well, it is a cannabis product, but not related specifically to marijuana. The challenge with it is, and this was discussed, and I'll just throw this out so you know what's going on, is that it is considered a controlled substance federally, even though it's a product you make fabric and rope and various products out of. So that is a challenge in itself. If we try to pursue that, what's going to happen with the related product that also is cannabis? I'm not going to start going there, but I certainly am in favor of the product development itself, because it would certainly be a benefit to the valley And there's going to be a lot of discussion on this, I'm sure. But I wanted to at least bring that up. I also attended the Business Assist meeting with Ron Douglas, and I had lunch with him and got some important insights as to what he's doing, what he wants to do. I wanted to find out about his heart for both, you know, we know what it is about business, how, you know, but specifically about the valley and our area right here, specifically in Monte Vista. And I was very much encouraged. If you haven't looked into that, the website is localbusinessassist.com. I believe I got that right. And it's a unique program, and it is by far what this area, what this town needs in terms of business development and growth in general. We've had so much that we've tried, and it's time now that not only the city as the governmental agency, but the city and the citizens themselves get behind this project, and even to the point of, heaven forbid, talking positively about it. There's going to be challenges, there's going to be, we're at a point in time, and I haven't been here all my life, but I've been here long enough to see what's been going on, and we need now to make this change, and it's got to be us, but not just us. It's got to be you, it's got to be the entire town getting behind this process. And I just wanted to pitch that, and hopefully, Kelsey, put that at the top of the list, because if the people get behind this, it will work. Also attended a meeting with U.S. Senator Cory Gardner. And I was impressed with the fact that there was so much that he had to say about the ag business here in the valley. He was not just talking to voters about getting reelected. He understands very specifically the needs that are in this area and in this agricultural area, and all of the products that have brought up something that I was not aware of, and maybe you already are. I know our president's working towards simplifying a lot of things, like some bad trade agreements and that kind of thing. And I was certainly in favor of trashing NAFTA, but now I find out that one of the good aspects of NAFTA is that it supports the agricultural community. So there's a lot to know. There's a lot of good to be gained by visiting with these folks, and especially somebody like a U.S. Senator that takes the time to come out to the rural areas. And I appreciate him being here, and that was something that I learned. But there's an awful lot more information. I think there was a great write-up in the paper about some detail that he got into. I think that's in last week's paper probably, but it's worth reading some of the things that he had to say about the community, and I appreciate him being here. And that's all I'm going to talk about.
Okay, real quickly, according to what Gary was just talking about, I have visited with an awful lot of business owners in the downtown Monte Vista area, and people who are really curious about Ron Douglas. And I just want everyone to know and take back to people that they know, Ron Douglas was an investment that the council and the city made in you as a business owner. It doesn't cost you anything. He's got 6 months to make a difference in Monte Vista. And if you don't reach out to him, and business owners don't reach out to him and listen to what he has to say and take it under advisement, our investment is not going to go very far. And it really is an investment that we in the city made in you as business owners and in the community, and I hope you take advantage of him. I'm working with him with the golf course and several other places, and he really does have some very good ideas, and he's not getting much out of this. So you need to really reach out to him and listen to what he says. He's got a lot to offer.
I will add just one bit to that, and that is that he understands the urgency, and I don't want to make that sound like, it's all coming to a close here in the next several weeks, but there is an urgency to rebuild here in this town, and not just rebuild and have some of the old businesses leave and we end up at a status quo. He understands the urgency to get it started and going. If you have a business here in town, or if you know somebody that does, please let them know. He's less of a counselor and more of a drill instructor. And he's had a tremendous amount of worthwhile experience that's worth everything, and will tell you exactly how it is. And I've heard some feedback that some people didn't like that already, but he's gone back and trying to, work that through. But I like his approach because he's not wasting any time. So please, if you have a business or know somebody that does, and would pass that on, that you get his help. He'll bring in some good ideas and some good promotional aspects of the specific business that you have. And we'll tell you exactly how it is, and I just would plead with you to take him at his word. He's not perfect, but he is an experienced trainer in this area. So I'm believing that that's going to change things. I really am. So now I'm really done.
All right. Anything else? All right. We will recess until, what is that next?
19th.
19th, April 19th.
See you on the 19th of April.